Hello, my name's Lynn Gillespie, and this week on the High Performance Garden Show Nuggets, we share with you how to make dilly beans from your extra garden green beans. Here's a clip from the show. Alrighty, welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to make some dilly beans, and this is my version of dilly beans. There's lots and lots of recipes out there, but we really like this version, so I'm going to share that with you today. So we have some of our ingredients here, but the first thing that I need to do is to get my brine boiling. So in this pot, there is 1 quart of apple cider vinegar, 3 quarts of water, and 1 cup of salt. And so that is boiling, and we're getting that hot while we get the jars ready. I really like the apple cider vinegar in the dilly beans. It gives them a unique flavor, and it's also gluten-free. So that is really a great way to go. All right, so that's boiling. I also have my kettle boiling. We're going to do what's called a water bath method today. And so I have the water getting ready for that as well. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pack some jars. And what we have is we have dill, we have grape leaves, this is minced garlic, and then our beans. So this is what I do is I take the jar, I put in a grape leaf in the bottom. The grape leaf is to help keep the beans crispy. Then I put in a head of dill. Now if you don't have fresh dill, you can use dill seed, which will be fine, but we have fresh dill. So do that. We want a teaspoon of garlic. And so that's what goes in the jar. Okay, next I want to do my beans. I want to take the ends off. And then I want to snap this bean down to where it fits within 1/4 inch of the top. So we want to make dilly beans that are long and skinny. Now, we also do what we call dilly bits, because what we found out is we don't want to waste the end of this bean. And so we do something called dilly bits. So I'll start a second jar, and I'll have just bits of beans, and they go in the second jar. So we put the nice long beans in this jar and the bits in the other jar. Let me turn that around a little bit. I like to lay that on its side because it helps the beans to be a little bit line up a little bit better in the jar. Alrighty, so this is our dilly beans. It is packed pretty tight as I can get them. I can't get one more bean in there. And then the dilly bits, I'm finishing that one up. So if you got ones that are like this, they don't make good dilly beans, but they make great dilly bits. So you can just break those up, put them in the jar, and we'll just finish off a few. If you have a little extra gap, like in the top of your dilly beans, you can put a few bits on there. I like to put those in there so whoever's opening the jar, they can snack on those and then serve the rest. So it just gives the person who opens the jar a little bit of snack. So we think that's kind of fun. All right, so we'll get these finished up. All right, so we don't want to fill these more than 1/4 inch. Like we don't want this 1/4 inch taller than the jar. We need a little what's called head space. And so these are ready to be filled with the vinegar water. So we'll come over here. I'm going to turn that off for right now. And we're just going to ladle the vinegar, water, and salt right onto the beans. Now, if you are in a different elevation than me, you may have a little different cooking instructions. So if you use the Blue Ball book, or if you go to your county extension agent, that is a good place for you to get information specifically for your area. When you're canning, you have to pay attention and follow the rules so that you are not hurting anybody with your canning. So you can get some bacteria and different things growing if you don't do it right. So if you follow a true recipe, then you should be fine. Okay, so we have our lids. I'm just going to put my lids on here. Okay, those are on, and then these are going to go in my kettle. Now, one way to break your jars is to have cold liquid in your jar and set it into hot water. So if you boil your brine, that's now the jar is getting warm, and I don't have this pot is not boiling very hard yet, so that I can set this in here without popping the bottom off of my jar. because it'll crack just right around there and the whole bottom just falls out, and then of course you lose all your beans and everything. So we do that. We're going to fill up the kettle with, this kettle will hold 8 jars. Put the lid on that. Now, once this gets boiling, so you got to have it rolling boiling, a good boil, not just bubbles. We're going to water bath for 10 minutes, and we'll just set the timer and do that. This is the time that it takes for me to do it in my elevation. So go ahead and pop out to your county extension office or check the blue ball book for the canning times and pressures for your location. So while the beans are boiling, if you would like to learn more about preserving your harvest for the winter, go ahead and get our fruits and vegetables preserving guide. And you can find that at thelivingfarm.org/high-performance-garden-show. Get to that page, scroll down to the sponsor section, and we give that book away for free when you sponsor the show. So you can grab that. We basically cover 25 different vegetables that we can and preserve. And we teach you either canning, dehydrating, root cellaring, or freezing, because you got to get the right vegetable done the right way, and we'll show you that in the guide. Okay, so we are going to let this boil. We'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, once these have boiled for 10 minutes, then you turn it off, take the lid off, and let them cool down a little bit. And then what you want to do is you want to reach in here and you want to grab them out of the water, because they're in water up to a ½ inch over the top of the lid. And then you're going to put them on a towel. I like to put them on a towel just so that they can cool properly. And once they cool, then the lid's down. So this little guy, little jar grabber, it's probably the best $4 I've ever spent. Because I used to reach in, I used to wear like gloves and whatever I could to reach into boiling water. And then I discovered this little thing. I've had it for, oh gosh, decades. And like I said, the best $4 I ever spent. So if you're going to do a lot of this, you might want to get a jar grabber for your kitchen. All right, so these will cool down. They're going to do some popping and snapping. Like that, you're going to let them cool. Now, once the jar is sealed, you can tap on it right here, and it won't go pop, 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 pop. You won't have that sound of it being unsealed. So you always want to tap it once it's cooled off. So it takes them a little time to seal down. Now, once you have the jar, you've checked it for its seal, then you can label it and store it in a cool, dark place. And you're supposed to eat these within 1 year. They barely make it 6 months at our house. So this is how I make dilly beans. So go out and make some dilly beans and enjoy. This clip is from the High Performance Garden Show Year 8, Week 26. If you'd like to watch the whole show, it's free, it's online, and you can enroll on our website at thelivingfarm.org/high-performance-garden-show.